Welcome back, investors, to Ticker Time News. I am Adam. Thank you for joining me for the After Hours show. It is Friday. The week has wrapped up, and we've got a bunch to talk about. I've got a couple of deep dives I want to do, one on Intuit and one on Palo Alto Networks. And then we've got the solar sector really took off today due to some things going on in Congress in Washington. So a bunch to talk about. And a company that has come out of nowhere, Aurora Innovation, has shot up 51% today. They are up over 75% in just the past 3 days. It is incredible. Lucid popped back up today, up 17%. Shiba Inu was up 13%. So we've got a lot of action, a lot of stocks moving today, and the market to talk about. So, as with every day, the most important thing that I want to talk about is what's on your mind. So if you have a question, just leave the ticker symbol and your question in the comments, and we'll go over it live during the show. That's exactly what I'm here to do. So until your questions pop up, and I am definitely looking forward to the conversations in the chat. Today, it was popping yesterday, and I love seeing that. So while you guys get your questions ready to go, I'm just going to dive right into it. So the Dow Jones, it closed 0.8% lower today, hitting its lowest since October 27th, as investors started to, I guess, worry over COVID resurgence and new lockdowns. Europe is battling a rising number of infections, with Austria already announcing a full lockdown and Germany considering to follow. So there's a lot of that in the news that is bringing some of the market down. Stocks benefiting from normalcy, like cruise operations, airlines, and economically sensitive stocks like energy, financials, and industrials also fell. Also, the S&P 500, it lost 0.1% during the session. Meanwhile, the NASDAQ managed to hit another all-time high as a rotation into tech companies continued, boosted by lower yields amid a global rally in government bonds. Still, strong corporate results and economic data, well, it continues to show that the American economy recovery remains robust. Over 80% of the S&P 500 companies reported better than expected earnings so far. On the week, the Dow was down 1.4%, its second weekly loss, while the S&P closed 0.3% up, and the NASDAQ added 1.2%. But the Russell 2000, it declined closer to 1%. Now, Bitcoin seems to have turned green. I'll pull the chart up here in just a moment. I released a video last night during the live stream yesterday. We talked about the Fibonacci retracement tool. So then I did a video on it last night, and I published it really late last night. And as I was making the video, Bitcoin was falling. And by the time I started the video to the time the video was concluded, about 10 minutes or so, Bitcoin had dropped about $500. So it was on its way down. But today, it has turned green. So I guess the Fibonacci retracement tool, the video that I did, I guess I will file that under financial education or technical chart education video for now, and not a where's support for Bitcoin, since it has turned green. But Bitcoin's up 1.8% today. I find it very interesting. Hello, welcome. I'm glad you're here. One thing I find interesting about Bitcoin here is it's finding resistance right at this price point line right here. And that's at 57,972. It seems to have trouble breaking above that point. The wick on the daily candle, and this is the daily chart, had broke above it, but the candle itself is sitting right there. It just doesn't want to nudge above it. And then, of course, the candle dropped all the way down to a low of 55,625 and found support right here on this price line support. Now, if it did happen to fall any further, the biggest area of support that I think Bitcoin has is at $54,500. There is a trend line right there, an ascending trend line, and I think it'll be a very critical point for Bitcoin to stay above that 54,500. Now, if we check in with Ethereum, ETH USD on TradingView, I use TradingView for all of the charts that we see here on the live stream. There's a link in the description for a free account for TradingView. Ethereum has outperformed Bitcoin today. It's up nearly 7.5%, just a tad bit over. It's at $42.99 right this second. And it's really trying to stay above its 50-day moving average. Yesterday, it dropped 6.8%, and it went just below its 50-day moving average. So it's really trying to stay above that. And of course, I say nearly every day, the 50-day moving average, why it's so important. When we're above the 50-day moving average, we are in a positive or bearish structure. When we're below the 50-day moving average, we are in a negative or bearish structure on the chart. So there's Bitcoin and Ethereum. Okay, I have a question for you. You know that feeling you get when you research a company and you see its potential before the market does? You know that feeling that you get? Yeah, let me know in the comments what company you've called before the rest of the market caught onto it. I'd love to hear your stories and what stocks they were. Now, I'm going to get a little personal here, but for me, it's really hard to make a call like that because I'm putting my thoughts, my investment thesis out there on YouTube, and I always think, what if I'm wrong? And someone happened to follow my lead and lost along with me. It's something I battle before uploading a single video. But back to my question. For me, that company is Aurora Innovation. Ticker symbol is AUR. I did a video on them not too long ago, maybe a week or so, about a week or so. But Aurora Innovation is a pure play on robotaxis, on autonomous driving. That's what they focus on. They build the software and hardware for autonomous driving. Excuse me. And this stock is up 51% today. Now, it's down 5% in after hours. There's got to be profit taking after being up that big. But this is a company that I called way back here. Let me go in a little bit deeper. I'm going to go to the 4-hour chart just so we get a few more bars here to see. But there was a slight wedge pattern starting to form right here. You can see these two purple lines. That's about where I made the video. And then it came out, and then it was just kind of flat there for a week or a week and a half or so. And then it really took off. So this is one of those stocks where I did the research, I did the due diligence. I thought, you know what? This stock could be a barometer for how investors feel about autonomous driving. So I put together my investment thesis, and then I put it out there on YouTube. And I wasn't feeling so good for about the next week because the stock was flat. But this is one that has now taken off. This is what I'm talking about when I ask that question. What stocks have you done your research on, you thought were going to be an excellent stock to hold, and you do it before the market catches on, right? Before its big run up. You're on the very early stages. Aurora Innovation is that company for me. And that feeling is just so, wow, it's awesome. But yeah, so let me know what stocks or what companies you've had that feeling on before. I'd really like to know. All right, a sector that is performing amazing right now is the solar and alternative energy names. They are surging across the board following today's passage of the Build Back Better bill in the U.S. House, even as the measure likely faces substantial changes in the Senate. Now, I'm not here to pick political sides on anything. I'm here to point out stocks, give you my investment thesis, thoughts, but not my political points. That's for a different channel, right? Okay. For Patreon members, I have already sent you my list of relevant ETFs, solar and alternative energy names I'm watching with an interactive watch list. Woo! Getting tongue-tied there. Those nerves that I talk about that I have when I start the live stream every single day, they are there. Trying to get them out. But anyways, watch list, interactive watch list that gives you important upcoming dates, like when earnings are due out. But here's a little sample of what I sent my Patreon members. So for an ETF, we have TAN, T-A-N. SoFi, I see the comment there. SoFi at 14, it just didn't make sense to me. It almost annoyed me. Yeah, I remember SoFi being down there. I was holding it too. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, it dipped. I'll pull SoFi's chart up in just a moment because it did dip below that $21 that we were talking about. Got into the 20s, and I think it might have even got down to 19 something. I didn't see what it ended at the end of the day, but I'll pull it up here in just a moment. Let me just throw these couple of solar alternative energy stocks out there. But for an ETF for solar, we've got TAN, T-A-N. It's the Invesco Solar ETF. It was up 3.2% today. It's been kind of bouncing around. This is a 4-hour chart. Let me go to the 1-day chart to give a better bird's eye view. You can see it had its run up there in October, and then it's kind of been bouncing around there in November. But this bill, once it gets passed, and I believe that it will get passed just because of the power structure in DC right now. It won't look the same as it is right now, but it will benefit solar alternative energy type of stocks. So a good basket would be one like TAN. Now, Patreon members got a few extra ones, so I'm going to save that for them. Now, on the solar side, we've got companies like Enphase, ticker symbol ENPH. Enphase is my #1 favorite solar company, and their inverter. It's beautiful. They were up 5.2% today. They're flat in after hours. And this company has been running all October, all November. It has been crazy since breaking out of this symmetrical triangle here. It has been reaching new all-time highs, including today's new all-time high of $272. Another solar company that I like is Sunrun. Ticker symbol is RUN, R-U-N. Now, Sunrun offers a subscription-based service for solar. It's really interesting how its business model is set up. It was up 4.7%. You can see that same October rally that it had, but in November, it's kind of cooled off a little bit and pulled back down. It's at $54.56 right now. It has an all-time high of $100, so it's nearly 50% down right now from its all-time highs that it hit. And let me see here, year to date, what is it at? It is down 20.9% year to date. So that's a pretty far drop. Over the last 6 months, it's made up most of that. It's up 19% over the last 6 months. So this is one to watch. It really reacts around earnings or leading up to earnings. All right, so there's 2 of the solar stocks that I sent Patreon members. I sent them a few more to look at. As far as alternative energy, I sent Patreon members 3 or 4 of them, but Plug Power is one. Ticker symbol is Plug, Plug. As far as alternative energy goes, you can see the exact same October rally into November. They were up 10.2% today. So they've been moving right along as well. You can see they were flat during the summer. Like a lot of solar companies, they kind of have this same little chart pattern here. But they are well above their 50-day moving average. They are holding above their 21-day moving average, which is very bullish. Okay, let me pull up SoFi right quick. Ticker symbol is the name, SOFI. How they do today? They were flat for the day, down about 1% for the day. They're at 2034 right now. We talked about it the other day, and I said this range right here between 2150 down to 20 was a good range, but of course anything under 20 would definitely be a scoop up. Right now it's holding at that $20 kind of limit right there. Let's see, its low today was $19.94. I think the other day when it broke this, that would be November 10th, it got down to $19.85 and bounced off of that. So let's see if it can bounce off of this again, or will it maybe go lower to its 50-day moving average. Right now, its 50-day moving average is $19.04. So yeah, keep an eye on that one for sure. Okay, we've been talking about PayPal a lot as well here the past, I think, every day this week. They did dip below that $200 today. Let's let the chart load here. They were down 3.4% to $193. In the after hours, they are up a couple fractions of a percent to $94. So we'll see there how it reacts there. It got as low as $93.07. So it still, I just think it's going to kind of hold here for a while and just bounce around this $200 mark. Of course, I could be wrong. I'm not right on everything, that is for sure. But I feel pretty strongly about that price range right there. And if we just scroll out here and look on the chart, you've got to go all the way back here to November of 2020, a year ago, to get this $200 price for PayPal. So just watching that one closely just to see if it comes down anymore or if it's going to hold around that $200 mark. Okay, so that's PayPal. Really nothing else to say about it. Just the fact that it is dipped below it, and we've been talking about it every day. So I thought I'd bring it up and put it out there because I want to be held accountable for anything that I do say. Now, I do believe that the long-term goals for PayPal are intact, and you know they're getting some competition, but I do believe it's manageable, and they can do pretty well. All right, we have been looking at the EVs all week this week also. So let's take a look. Let's start with Lucid, LCID. They jumped again today. Let's see how much they ended the day with. 17.3% is how high they bounced today. In after hours, they're down about 1%. So they're holding up pretty nicely. A really big bounce today for Lucid. And then we have, of course, Rivian and Tesla that we'll look at too. We'll look at Rivian next. Some news did come out about Rivian today. RIVN is Rivian's ticker symbol. But Rivian jumped, but then they gave back the earlier gains because there was a report that came out that indicated that vans tested by Amazon may have underperformed. And a key word there, may have. It's a report from a single driver's perspective. And the report says that, or the information that they give says that one of the drivers for testing the Rivian vans said that there was a limited range for the electric vehicle when the air conditioner was on, and it cut the performance by about 40%. So chalk that up to whatever you want to chalk it up to. It did bring the stock back down some. Amazon is planning to use their vans. They've been testing them in 15 cities now for a while. So we'll have to see how it continues. All right, let's look at Tesla, TSLA. Tesla was up 3.7% and 0.75% in after hours. It was forming what we thought here was maybe a falling wedge. So it was real interesting to see that it break up. And even though it wasn't a big move today, nonetheless, it was a move outside of that potential setup that it was making. So Tesla is still on an aggressive, very aggressive campaign right now with moving up. Buying Tesla when it's at near all-time highs like this, I'm not so sure about it, but I do believe in Tesla's future. And I do believe that Tesla has the potential to be a 2 trillion, a 3 trillion, even a $5 trillion company in the future, just because they are disrupting so many different industries. You know, the automotive industry for one, space industry for two, electric industry for three, just total disruption. And the automotive and electric, those are big industries. And if Elon Musk can get space to work, that will be a big industry too. Okay, so there's the EVs that we have looked at there. Yeah, so that's that. All right. Remember, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments, and I am glad to go over them with you. All right. So just continuing to move on here, I do want to mention Apple, I'm sorry, I was typing it in wrong as I was talking. AAPL for their ticker symbol. Now, Apple reached a new all-time high today of $161.02. It was up 1.7%. It is now at $2.6 trillion for their market cap. They are flat in after hours, but they have been performing aggressively for the past 4 days. Basically, this whole week, they have been moving. And, you know, not very big moves, 2.8% yesterday. But when you're at a $2+ trillion market cap, moving a little bit is moving a lot for a company of that size. Also, Home Depot, it also hit a all-time high today, breaking above $400 for the first time. That's not Home Depot. HD, not HA. Ha ha. Oh boy. Okay, so it got to $410.10 as their new all-time high, even though they were only up 0.7% today. Still a really, really solid move that Home Depot has made since its earnings. Yeah, this is one we talked about on the Catalyst Watch video that comes out every Sunday. I think it's the most important video I do every single week. It comes out Sunday evenings, and it's got a bunch of different companies in it and what I'm watching for the week ahead, but not just what I'm watching, but why I'm watching and what I'm watching for. So it's a little bit more than just, hey, here's 5 stocks I'm watching for the week. I think it's pretty in-depth, and it's definitely worth some time to watch. Okay, a couple companies I want to dive a little deeper into. First one is Intuit, ticker symbol INTU. They reported their earnings yesterday. They managed to pull off a 10% gain today, which was outstanding. They really smashed their earnings. Now, here's my thoughts on Intuit. Now, they reported their Q1 2022, so they're on a little bit of a different fiscal year cycle with how they report their financials. Now, their earnings results last night, and the investors that are into it today, pretty interesting there. With that 10% gain, they really, really liked earnings too. As a supplier of financial software for small businesses and consumers, like TurboTax, QuickBooks, Mint, Credit Karma, MailChimp, which is a new addition. I have used QuickBooks before for small businesses that I have started in the past, and their products are just really great, and they really make keeping up with your financials as a small business really easy. The tax portion of it is really integrated and seamless. You just click a couple of buttons and it fills out the taxes for your business, and then you send them off electronically. It is really cool. But Intuit is benefiting from a booming economy, which we talked about at the beginning. A lot of the economic data points to a strong economy, even though it's not felt completely across America. But with this, it is fueling Intuit's small business customer base and an acceleration in businesses' digital transition efforts. Intuit also has been active on the M&A front, acquiring 2 major companies in less than a year. Credit Karma, they did that December of last year, and then MailChimp, which finalized and closed this month. MailChimp offers a marketing automation platform like email marketing. In Q1, Intuit reported huge upside for both EPS and revenues and guided sharply above expectations for Q2, which are reported in January, and fiscal year 2022. Some of the quarter's highlights included growth in QuickBooks, QuickBooks Online. Its accounting revenue of 32% year-over-year growth, driven primarily by customer growth, higher prices, and a mix shift, and an increase in online services revenue of 42%, driven by QuickBooks Online Payroll, which, again, that's a really simple service to use for a small business. Trying to do that on your own is complicated as all get out, but QuickBooks makes it as seamless and as easy as possible. QuickBooks Online Payments also contributed. It's been about a year since the Credit Karma deal closed, and it has been doing very well, posting Q1 revenue at a record $418 million, driven by strength in personal loans and credit cards. It's also seeing momentum in home loans and auto loans. Now, the MailChimp deal closed after the quarter ended, so it's not reflected in these past financials. However, Intuit can already see it's making a difference, as it's seeing strong interest from customers, because think about this. MailChimp was its own marketing platform. QuickBooks had its own marketing type platform and integrations with other companies. Now, QuickBooks can just straight up offer this marketing and email marketing services that companies need, especially retail-based or even online retail-based customers. It enables small and mid-sized businesses to combine customer data from MailChimp with purchase data from QuickBooks to deliver actionable insights. And it can also deliver what's called a drip campaign in marketing. Oh, wow. That's when you send out little emails, like maybe one every 2 weeks or so, just to keep your name in front of customers' eyeballs, because that's really what it's about. But that combination is where the real magic happens. I have to admit that going into this report, I was a little nervous, given that the stock was up nearly 60% since mid-May. Any chink in the armor could have sent the stock sharply lower. A sell the news reaction was also possible. Just look at Target for that. I totally missed Target. That stock pulled back on excellent earnings. Now, this Q1 report was really strong, and the Q2 guidance was perhaps even more impressive. Granted, some of the upside guidance is related to the MailChimp addition. I am not sure how analysts have factored that into their models already or if they haven't yet. However, it was very impressive. Bottom line, I continue to be amazed with Intuit and how consistently robust results are. Also, Intuit's move to make 2 huge acquisitions within a year following a pandemic speaks to the confidence in its business and business model. MailChimp cost the company a hefty $12 billion. But I love the idea of creating a financial flywheel that encompasses everything from accounting software, which would be QuickBooks, to tax preparation, TurboTax, and money management, meant to credit cards, personal loans, Credit Karma, and then, of course, marketing, the final nail for them, MailChimp. The financial cross-selling opportunities are, wow, really good. Think about SoFi in their last quarter and how they talked about cross-selling. Maybe someone who was in SoFi Invest went over and joined into a SoFi credit card. That's exactly what can happen here with Intuit. And that's what they are building. And they're building it with a subscription-based model. That's recurring revenue. And when a business has recurring revenue, that's something that you can count on. And whew, that is juicy. I'm also excited that Intuit is becoming this all-in-one machine, because of my personal experience with using it, with having a small business myself. So there's my thoughts on Intuit. It has moved 10%, so it is a bit hefty. It reached a new all-time high, $716.86 today. So it does need to cool off if you haven't started a position yet. Okay, I see a ticker here. Thank you. Can you talk about STEN? Thank you so much. Yes, I can. Let's pull it up. STEN. Let's take a look at this. Invalid system. Excuse me there for just one moment. Did I type the wrong ticker symbol? Or is it a STEN? Is that a crypto then? Or a stock? There is no STEN. I'm not seeing a coin for that either. Can you give me a little more details on STEN? I'm not. What is this? Is it not on? Isn't it not a U.S. based stock? That's interesting. It wasn't in Trading View. A high level over. Let me type it in over here. STEN. Okay. Let me come a little closer. Excuse me for coming so close to the camera. STNE. Okay. Sorry, I need a magnifying glass for the chat there. STNE. All right, Stone Okay. STNE. Got it. All right. Flat today in a downtrend, below 50-day moving average, below 200-day moving average. Those two things are right off the bat a bearish structure on the stock here. Has missed the past 4 earnings. That doesn't look good either. I'll go into the financials in just a second. Year to date, it is down 77.2%. Let's see here. Financial technology solutions caters to merchants and partners that conduct electronic commerce across in-store, online, and mobile channels. The firm also offers cloud-based technology platform, electronic payments, the automation of business processes at the point of sale. So this seems like a competitor maybe to PayPal or Square. Possibly. Let me look at the website here right quick. Helping you turn opportunities into successful business. So 2018 IPO. 2016. They acquired a Brazilian operation of, okay. 2015 equals added to portfolio. Okay. 2014 they started operating. Okay. 2012 an idea is born. Brand new customer service concept in Brazil. One ecosystem, multiple solutions. Okay. All right. So I got it. Small growth company. Let's go to investor relations page. Usually when you're doing research on companies, you can either type in investor relations and the company's name or ticker symbol, or usually at the very bottom of their website, they'll have a link to the investor relations page. And that's where you can go to find all kinds of information, more information about the company, their financials, press releases, events. You can even find their investor deck here as well. But usually when I'm using the wire service here, I learned this from the live stream with you guys that if the earnings date is not confirmed, if it says unconfirmed, then I go to the website and I double check. I do my fact checking for where their earnings are scheduled. All right, just pulling up some more information here about them. All right, let me hop back over here to TradingView for a moment and let's go look at their financials. Now, when it first loads, this is annually. So the chart right above my head, this is earnings on a quarterly basis. It goes Q4 2020, Q1 21, Q2 21, Q3 21, and they keep missing. And then over here to the right, the top right, this is a yearly income statement just summarized down to 3 points: revenue, net income, and profit margin. And you can see the yellow line, that's the profit margin. You want to see that line going up. You don't want to see it coming down. And you also want to see everything coming up, basically. The blue line, that's the revenue. So you want to see revenue increasing. The green line is the net income. You want to see that increasing. And you can see from 2017 to 2018, they actually went from a net income of negative 33 million to 2018 being net income positive by 82 million. Then they go up to 203 million. That has to be due to that acquisition. And then 2020, it goes to 165 million. So it dropped down a little bit there. But revenue stayed relatively the same, up a little bit from 279 million to 297 million. But the profit margin dipped a little bit. And then we got cash flow on the bottom right. And again, this is a yearly look at it. And then my head's kind of blocking it, but this is the balance sheet. It shows their assets, liabilities, and then the debt to asset ratio. In 2020, it was a 52%. All right, and then we can go to the quarterly view, and that's what really we want to narrow in on, because that helps us on understanding what's happening to the stock chart. So we got the income statement, Q3 2020, Q4 2020, Q1 21, and Q2 21. And you can see that profit margin really accelerated in Q2 of this year, all the way up to a profit margin of 102.7%. That's really good. And then their debt to assets was 58% in Q2. So that's not too bad. So looking at the earnings report here, oh, not the actual report. This is kind of like a summary, an overview. Q2 for them was looks pretty decent number-wise. Even though they did miss, it was a small miss. Let's go here real quick. Okay, gross profit Q2 21, 16.5%, $39 million. Okay. Cost of goods sold, a loss of 57 million. Okay. This looks like a young growth company. That's exactly what this company looks like. When you're looking at the numbers here, you're looking at the different bar graphs and line graphs. This looks like a young, growing company. All right. So their shares outstanding increased in Q3 of 2020 and Q1 of 2021. Not by much. In Q1, not by much. Maybe by 1 million shares. Let's see here. Price to earnings ratio is an 87.5. Price to sales is a 60.5, which isn't terrible for a growth company like this. Enterprise value of 20. Gross margin percentage is 40.9%, and that was Q2 of 21. Okay. All right, so it looks like it's a young, growing company. That's not a bad thing. And growth companies, they can be unpredictable at times on a stock chart like this. We're on a daily view. I just want to get as much history as I can here. This spike right here that it went on in February 21, that was just pure overboughtness by the whole entire market. Everybody was getting in. I mean, that was the whole retail investor phase, and retail investors just got, some of them got left holding the bags at peaks of these humongous rallies in companies. So if we boil this down here to where is the support for this stock, and it looks like it's going to be right at about $19. I'm going to go ahead and put a line there at $19. That looks about support for this. And remember, when we're putting lines on a chart, we want to get as many price points as possible to touch the line. Kathy Wood invested in this stock, Stone Company, Stone Co. All right, let's see here. And if we want a secondary, it's going to be right here at about 21.25, 21.30. And we're looking back here, April, May of 2020, that dip there. And then the dip right here after they became a public company. You can see here, my head's in the way, isn't it? And then over here. And that looks to be where the bottom is for this right now. All right, so my thoughts are this company is a young, growing company. It has growing pains like every other young company. It seems to be sitting right on the floor here as far as the stock is. It's dipped lower than this before. Right now, relative strength is at 22.5. And remember, anything 30 and below is oversold. So it is really oversold right at this point. All right, let me look over here for any relative news. So this week, it was one of the biggest losers. It and Splunk. It was down 35% just this week, while Splunk was down 20% this week. Let's see here. So it missed on EPS, upside on revenues, brought in 5.9 billion of total financial services. And financial services was 72% of revenue. Software solutions is 21% of its revenue. Okay, let's see here. I'm just looking at their last quarter results. They actually added 293,800 new customers in its last quarter, and it's up to about 1.4 million active payment customers right now. And that is led by strong performance in their micro plus small to medium business, which grew 81.3% year over year. So they're attracting a lot of small businesses. And when they say micro, I mean, that's talking about a super small business, like a sole proprietor, a single person who had gone out and started their own business. You could almost say like what I'm doing. I could be offering a service here and can be considered a sole proprietor with this. So that's the type of companies they're attracting. Now, attracting smaller companies like that means smaller revenue is what you're going to generate. So probably what investors are wanting to see is more of that mid-size business being attracted to them. But they're a young company. They have a lot of room ahead for them to grow. Look at this. Their software revenue increased from $18.1 million in Q3 of 2020 to $314.8 million in this last quarter. So in a year's time, they were able to increase nearly $300 million just about in software revenue. That is big, 182% growth. That is really, really good. And that's what you want to see from small companies. And when you think about it, 182% growth, that is excellent, right? But when you're a small company and you're starting at zero, a big percentage can actually be just a little move, but it's still a really good move. So this is a company that I would keep on my radar, definitely. It looks like it's really interesting. It seems to be it's got this downtrend. It's got to shake, though. It's got to shake this downtrend. One way or another, it has got to pop out of this downtrend. And let me just put a couple lines on here. You can see this. Don't want to use that. That was an anomaly. So if we put a line right there, okay. I'll leave it that color. All right, let's clone this because we want to get the same angle to find a channel and see what's going on. That seems possible. All right, so now if I come back in here and look at this recent channel that it's in, it has dipped below that. But again, it's kind of sitting there on the floor. Here's what I would do for this stock. I'm leaning towards, I'm liking this company. It's definitely a small company. It is growing, but it's growing with small clients. And that's something that you would expect from a small company like this. They're not going to go out and land big multi-million-dollar deals every quarter. They're going to bring in the mom and pops, the sole proprietors every quarter. And as long as they continue to do that and build that base, then they will be able to then get those bigger clients once they have something to show for themselves, and they're starting to. So I would watch, next week. Is this going to dip lower? Is this the floor right here? Or is it going to go lower? If we look at that relative strength down there, it is definitely oversold. But if we go back and look at this, we're looking at relative strength, and we're also I'm looking at volume here to see what happened with volume. So when it was doing this big run up at the beginning of this year, February, January, actually December and November, October of last year, volume was really low. Like it had volume kick up. Let me make a little mark on here. It had volume kick up over here. Oh, my head's blocking it. Here, let me scrunch this up just a little bit more. There we go. So it had a little volume over here, just beside my head over here. And then if we look at that volume, it drops down. Of course, the higher it goes, the lower volume gets. See, the volume is dropping down really low here. And then even on the way down, volume hasn't picked up until right here, leading into earnings. And that's when you have this little rally right here that it had to the top of this channel before it came back down. And now it's here. Is it going to bounce out of this and get back into this channel? That is a possibility, especially with being overbought. Or is it going to go from here and move sideways or go lower? I really can't say what it's going to do. I can give those 3 probabilities that it's either going to bounce and get back into this trading channel that it's been in at least since June of this year. It's been in this downtrending trading channel, but it really defined. Or is it going to move sideways like this is the floor? But it's interesting company. I'd watch it. I don't want to just drag out and keep repeating myself here. Volume not that bad for a down day for INMD. Thought it was ready for a breakout. Okay, we can take a peek at that. All right, so there's Stone Company. I'm leaning towards I like this company. It's interesting. It's one I'd watch. It seems to be at a floor right now. It is in a downtrend and it is in a bearish structure, but it is one to watch. I would not dive into it and open any positions right now, but I would watch it next week and see what happens. All right, so there's that. Next up here, speaking of Kathy, CRISPR, CRSP, all the analysts are raving, but it's been down for months. Any sign of a bottom? Let's look at CRISPR, and then we'll look at INMD. Okay, so we got CRSP. CRISPR is one of those companies that it can get wild momentum behind it and just give it unpredictable moves. Okay, let's see here. All right, just looking for any. All right, so on their earnings, November 3rd, which would have been right here where this is, we've got reported EPS of $1.67, which beat by 4.7% on $824,000 in revenue. Analysts were expecting 1.2 million though for revenue, so that was down by 32%, or a miss by 32%. So let me just put a vertical line here on earnings because that did affect the stock. You can see this. It's been a couple days since I've been in here and looked at it because I have not updated my chart pattern. So let me do that right now. I can add these new data points. And right now it is just trading right at the bottom of this wedge right here. Now if I move that down a little bit, so you can see this wedge, this falling wedge that it's in, it is getting a lot narrower and that can be a good sign for either a potential reversal. Now, as far as a bottom goes, let me drag this out here. All right, don't want to go too far. All right, let's see here. Areas of support is what I'm looking for. It looks like they got one at about 79.25, give or take $1 or $2. Obviously, it's never perfect, spot on. And then under that, we're probably looking at a $59, $60 area. All right, so there's two areas of support that's falling down into right now. This next area of support that is at about $79 to $80, that looks like a pretty strong area of support. Now, you know what we could do? Yesterday, we did the fib retracement tool on Bitcoin, but that was in an uptrend. This is a downtrend. So let me just throw that on here right quick. So first we want a big trend. So I'm in the 1 week view right here, and I want to get the peak and then the absolute bottom right there. Okay, now we want to go in a little closer, so I'm going to go to 1 day, and I'll bring this in a little bit. And now we want to find a shorter trend to put this on. So I'm going to go from this peak here that started on July 1st, and of course I'm going to take it down to the bottom where it is right now. Okay. And then what you're looking for are where things line up. Now we're going to have to go and project something forward since this hasn't reversed yet. But where we have matching lines are where I'm going to put these lines at. Okay. All right. Now that I have those two lines there, I'm going to go out of this just real quick. This won't take but another minute to get these lines in here. Now I'm going to go from here to there, and I'm going to go back out to the 1 week chart. Actually, let's see. All right, let's do this one. Okay, So where we've got areas of support, it's a little bit lower than the one I made, but there is a strong correlation right here at $73. And then we change the color of that so we know that this was the Fibonacci. And then where's the next one here? The next one, of course, is, we don't want to go this far down, but it's down here at $32. Don't expect it to fall down there. And then if we look for the next one is going to be more like up here at 100, right here about $102. All right, so now that we got the Fibonacci lines on there, let's go in and look at the chart. Oh, I want to delete you. All right, now let's go in and get a better look. So it's definitely in this falling wedge pattern. And as far as support lines go, we have one right here at $78, give or take a couple of dollars. And then below that, we have a Fibonacci one at $73. So if it does continue to fall in this wedge, it's going to... All right, so let me open this up, but then I need to scrunch this up a little bit. So if these lines were to continue until I got to that Fibonacci line, it would have to break out somewhere within there. See how tight that is? All right. That is getting really tight, almost to a point. So this stock, it's going to have to do something soon. It's either going to get to $79, $80, or it's going to get to $73, maybe 72 or 74. Somewhere around there, it has got to be a bottom for this, where one of two things is either going to happen. And I mean, it's got plenty of volume, so it's got plenty of trading. So, you know, traders are watching these lines as well. It's going to do one of two things. It's either going to break up to the upside and come back to the trading channel, into the trading channel, or it's going to fall down even lower. And if it falls lower, there's really nothing between, what is this, $58 to $60 mark. That would be the next support. So it's something to watch, but it's going to make a move soon, I would think. Usually whenever you see these falling wedges, as that price tightens up, I mean, it moved 0.64% today, and it moved 0.06% in after hours. So this price is getting really tight. It's got to break out of this at some point. There's pressure building for CRISPR here. So it could be getting close to a bottom. We got support at about $80. We've got a Fibonacci line at about $73. And then support again down here about $60. So if it's going to break out, it's going to go to one of those lines. Or it's going to break up instead of breaking down. So got to watch it. And this is one that you're going to have to act quickly on when it happens. So there's a quick technical breakdown here for CRISPR, ticker symbol CRSP. Hope that helps. I know Kathy, she speaks a lot about CRISPR. She buys it, she sells it some. I think it's just rebalancing her portfolio when she's selling. All right, let me look at INBD. IMMD. Sorry about that. I'll keep an eye on 78. Something will happen. Yes, something will happen. Oh my goodness. I think a I think a magician might be able to say something better than that. Make a prediction better than something will happen. Well, duh, something's gonna happen, Adam. Something. Sorry, just beating myself up a little bit about that one. I wish I could be a little more helpful. Okay. Let me just throw that in there for a moment. Okay. Now let's hop over INMD. Woo! Wow, look at that. Yeah, we've looked at this one before. It's been a couple days since we've been in here. It broke out of this symmetrical triangle. It had a 2.3% breakout, not a very high one. Almost want to reset this. That wasn't a very big move at all. Usually when you have this symmetrical triangle setup, when you see a breakout, you're looking for a 5+% breakout, and that's a breakout. Now, for something like that, I need to readjust this since we've got new data here. We even have this lower point, but still it's not enough data. When you're drawing lines like this, you need 3 or more points of contact. I may be able to get it with this new line that appeared today. I'm on the 1-day chart. Okay. So if we're doing something like this, it was down 4.3% today. It's up a couple of tenths of a percent in after hours. So it looks like really good support around this $88 price right here. So by readjusting the bottom line of this wedge, because of today's data point, that gives us 3 points of contact. We have the 29th of October, we have the 10th of November, and then we have today, the 19th of November. Now we've got 3 points of contact. This is now a strong line. Up top, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points of contact. So the top line is also confirmed. So this is a confirmed wedge here for them. Now, the price hasn't tightened up quite enough. I mean, it moved 4.3% today. When you get to this nexus point area, when the price tightens, you want to see like we just saw with CRISPR, where it moves less than 1% each day. Because that's when you get the pressure building up in those breakouts. And usually the breakouts are as big as the beginning of the wedge. And that can usually be a pretty far percent difference. Like if we measure this one right here, I can't see. I got to move that out of the way. That's a 14% difference right there. So we would want to then measure what that would look like here. 14% would take it up here to the $100 mark. That's the type of breakouts that you want to see with these structures. Yes, you could call it a bull flag pattern. The one thing that would concern me here is, all right, look at these two chart patterns. I'm trying to make this as big as I can so you can see. We've got the one over here, and let me just circle it so we all know what we're talking about. We have this pattern over here, okay? if you look at that one compared to the one on the right, the difference is the bottom line. On the left, that bottom support line is ascending. It is going up as it's moving forward in time. The one that we just made, it is barely moving up as it goes left to right. It is almost flat, and flatness can act as a really strong deterrent. So, I mean, you can see that there was a much more defined triangle here, while the one on the right, it's yeah, it's a triangle, but it's not as steep of an angle. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. The angles are not as steep on it. So that's what I'm saying, or trying to say, I guess. Doing a poor job saying it. Oh, man. Okay, so it looks like it's got good support here. How do I forget how to do this. There we go. All right, so it looks like it's got good support here. We go out and look at this. You can see that this thing has been moving up, and you can find these symmetrical triangles in several different sections as this stock has been moving up, and they've been getting a little more defined as they've been moving up. So yeah, I see a strong support here around 88. It is above that 50-day moving average. It's below the 21-day moving average. So it's not super bullish, but it is in a positive bullish structure right now. So I say that looks pretty good. But do watch, if it does break out of this to the downside, it will probably come to the 50-day moving average. And right now, the 50-day moving average is at $83 right now at this point. So that's a potential as well. Sometimes these symmetrical triangles, wedge patterns, they can go in the opposite direction. It's all about possibilities, right? Probabilities. That's the word I was looking for. It's all about probability. What's the percentage? Okay, so there's INMD. We got there. Let's see here. All right. Any other tickers you want to look at here? IM has never gone below 50-day moving average. Yeah, that's true. It has been really strong. But I say that because it has used the 50-day moving average as support. It has, come down to it, touched the 50-day moving average, and then bounced off of that. So if it does happen to break out of this to the downside, it could come down to that 50-day moving average and then use that as its support level to bounce off of. But also notice the curvature here. It is getting steeper as it rises, and then it has really kind of flattened out a bit, I guess is what I'm trying to say, since earnings. But yeah, I think it's still in a very bullish structure. I think it looks good for a breakout to the upside. But I'm just saying there is a small possibility that it could come down to the 50-day moving average and then bounce off of that. Does that make sense? All right. So It has an all-time high of $99.27. I guess that was reached right about here. Yeah, on November 2nd, it reached its all-time high of 99.27. So it's pulled back off of that, and I could definitely see it go up and retest that all-time high and maybe make a new one. Especially as we're moving into the end of the year and everything right now is getting extended pretty far. Okay, cool. All right, what other companies would you guys like to look at? I know I wanted to do a deep dive on Palo Alto Networks, but I can save that for next time. I'd much rather talk about what's on your mind. So, yeah, we've been going here for an hour and 20 minutes. So I don't want to take up too much of your time. So I'll save Palo Alto for another day. Maybe, well, today's Friday, so I guess it would have to be Monday. Airbnb. Yeah, let's pull them up. I like Airbnb. I think it's got a ton of potential. All right, let's see here. It's down 3.8% today. 196. All-time high 219. The past two earnings have been really good for it. All right. Okay. Let's see here. Nice gap up there for earnings. That would have been a really nice play on a power earnings gap. The peg strategy, you can play around earnings. You got to be really quick with it. Okay, let's see here. It looks like there is... Okay. Looks like we got support here at 168. Let's work our way up. Okay, let's see here. Oh, it's really hard to find support when it's up so high and it doesn't have much history at these prices. It looks like 190 could potentially be an area of support for it. Okay. So it has definitely been in a really nice uptrend. All right. Let's clone that. No, that's too high. All right, let's see. Probably about right there. See, by finding this channel, this helps to identify, since this stock has run up so quickly here, and this gap up from earnings, we need to find some sort of markers here that we can correlate to the stock price right now. So it's sitting here at 196, which is just above this trend line, the upper part of this trend line here. Now, that could act as support where it continues to move along this line right here, using it as support. It can also, too, fall back into it maybe use that as support and bounce up to the top of this, and then make a move like that to get back into this trading channel. Because if I draw a line here just to make this a little easier to see the movement of the stock here. That's what it looks like. Okay. So with the stock moving in that channel like that, all the way back since middle of July 19th, is when it started to move up in this channel, but it fell into it starting on July 13th. And you can see how it's been moving up and down in this channel. So all likelihood, it would probably fall back into this channel, but this support line here at about 190, it's a weak support. It's not a strong support line, but nonetheless, it could be support for it. So I think it's going to do one of these two. This is the probability. It's either going to ride at the top of this trend line until the market does a correction and pulls back, right? Or it's going to come back into this trading channel and then use the 190 as support and then kind of go back up to it and come back down. I'm going to leave those last couple of lines that I drew on here, and then we can come back and check it next week. I don't know why I'm not... oh, that's why. All right, I'm gonna leave those two lines on there. I'm gonna write this down in my notes. We'll come back and check this Airbnb next week and see how the stock has been performing. Airbnb follow-up next week. Okay. And to see whether it has fallen back into this trading channel or stayed above it. With the support being at 190, I think the probability is it will come back into the trading channel. But I have seen stocks before, once they've broken above it, they kind of ride it, staying above it when the market is strong. All right, so there's Airbnb real quick for a technical analysis. And also look at volume here. One last thing on volume too. And get my RSI back up here. Right now it is at 64 on the RSI, so it's not oversold. It would have to be 70 or above. I mean overbought, excuse me. So it is coming down. Volume also has come down a bit too since earnings, but earnings was a big blast for it. So those two also show signs that it will most likely come back into this trading channel. But yeah, I like Airbnb for the long term. Okay, we've got another one here, CGC. We'll go ahead and pull up CGC. Okay. Well, it was in a bearish structure, but earnings kind of may have changed that a little bit. That's kind of a slope there. All right, let me pull them up over here too. CGC. All right. So today, there is news today for Canopy Growth. They announced a executive management team shakeup. The company announced strategic changes. I love when they try to do that. Strategic changes to its executive management committee effective immediately. Mike Lee, executive vice president and chief financial officer, and Raid, president and chief product officer, will be stepping down from their respective roles on the executive management committee and will depart from the company on December 31st, 2021. Okay. In the interim, they will serve in an advisory capacity to support transition. The company has initiated an external so they do not have a CFO or a CPO right now. They are looking externally for both roles and to support a seamless transition. So they have brought up two interim CFO and CPO. So the CEO, David Klein, is still going to remain CEO. Long-term play, absolutely, it's a long-term play. Assuming legalization of marijuana, yeah, absolutely. See if there's any other notes for them here. Let's see. On the wire, November 17th. Actually, let me back up a second. Yesterday, on the 18th, Barclays initiated coverage with an equal weight for Canopy Growth with a price target of $14. That's something. On the 17th, Canopy Growers unveiled a new lineup of premium flower offerings across its 7 acres craft collection and Doja, DOJA brands, including a range of national and limited edition craft strains. These sought-after strains meet the growing demand of the Canadian flower market and deliver the company's commitment to deliver on consumers' evolving preferences. Okay. And that was the 17th. I wonder if that correlates here to their earnings. No, but it correlates 17th. And they were red on the 17th. They were down 5.4% when that announcement was made. I wonder if very many people even caught that announcement. Let's see here. Now, November 8th, that's important because that was after their earnings. They had earnings right here on November the 5th. They lost 2 cents a share, which beat by 85%. And they had revenue of 103.5 million, which missed by 6.4%. But analysts came out a couple days later on the 8th and downgraded the company. Cohen downgraded to market perform. CIBC downgraded to sector underperform. And Canaccord, I don't know how to pronounce that one. That's a weird name. Downgraded to sell from hold. That all happened on the 8th, which would have been the day after their earnings when they were up 10%. People don't pay attention to analysts, do they? 3 analysts downgrade, but they're up 10%. Okay. All right. Let's see. I'm trying to get back here to their earnings. Just want to see if there was any, what they say about future, what they say about guidance, because guidance is one of the holy trinities for earnings, right? You got EPS, you got revenue, and you need to beat the estimates, but then you have guidance. I think analysts in here, let me swap this up. Yeah, I think analysts in general are bullish. Don't like see the future, man. They don't see it, man. All right, the company continues to expect revenue acceleration in the second half of fiscal year 22, but the magnitude and pace of improvements is expected to be more modest than previously anticipated. The company is focused on stabilizing its market share of the Canadian recreational cannabis in the second half of fiscal year 22. Distribution expansion of BioSteel is expected to accelerate in the second half of fiscal year 22, but shipments may depend on timing of chain authorizations and associated shelf resets. So that's pretty positive for the second half of 22, of fiscal year 22 for canopy growers here. So that looks pretty good. A lot of expansion. And that's exactly what you want to see. Let's see here. What is this? Seven Ohio cities approve marijuana decriminalization ballot measures, while 7 other cities defeated those measures, according to Marijuana Moment. So that's 50-50 good news for Ohio. Oh, and then here's a real stuck-up move. JP Morgan Chase will restrict trading in U.S. cannabis companies. And Tilray's on that list. Why you got to do that, JP Morgan Chase? And that was on November 2nd when that note came out. Okay. All right. Well, that takes me at least through the month of November there for news for them. So their earnings did look good, and the stock did react to that, pushing it above its 50-day moving average. But the past 2 days, it has sunk back below it. But it seems to be finding a support area right here. We may have a floor starting to form. I need to get a better look at this. Looks like we may be getting a floor, maybe somewhere around the maybe $12 at the highest. Let me put a line there, and then maybe go down $1, maybe down here to $11, somewhere between there. That may be a floor starting to emerge for them. They can JP Morgan chase this stock next year when it's up 50%. Oh, excuse me on the microphone there. That that's a good one, Devin. That's a good one. That's a good one. All right, so yeah, it's in a bearish structure, but it looks like that there could be a floor here, and if we scrunch this up to go try to find any time in history when this acted as support, you can find it back here in 2017. There was support in that price range, and then in 2020, and when it fell in March, I mean, it got down to a low of 939. I mean, that was its lowest, 939, during the whole pandemic thing, right? Back in March of 2020. So that's a pretty good indicator too that we may have found a floor here for it. All right, I gotta switch this. This is funny. This is really funny. Let me put that, there you go. So everyone else can make sure they see that. That's a good one. Okay, so volume has been picking up for them leading into earnings. You can see that here on the bottom. Let me just put a line here. If we start October 15th and we draw this line, it's going up. So that's a good sign. We have relative strength down here in about 46, 45, 45.88. So it's nice and in the middle there. The range that it's been within its RSI, the relative strength, this is about the midway point. So it could go either way right here. It's getting close to the low end of where it's been trading at recently. So I think it's looking pretty good right this second. All right. And if I just pop over here, beating the last two earnings is good. And it's a shame they're down 50% year to date. Let me just look right quick here. Quarterly view. Profit margin, Q2 21, a loss of 8%, 8.4%. But Q1 of 21, they were positive 288% on their profit margin. Wonder they sold something big there. They did something there. I mean, they got their net income up to 316.9 million. Wow. And then the Q2, it came back down to a negative of 8 million. But what did they do in Q1 of 21? Okay. Balance sheet is looking much, much better. Their total liabilities has been dropping the past 3 quarters. That's healthy. 2.6 billion in Q4 20, 2.1 billion Q1 21, 1.7 billion Q2 21. So that is great. Their debt to asset right now is 33.5%. That is looking really good. And then here, their investments really kicked off in Q2. They're investing $258.7 million right in Q2 21. So that's good. Their financials here are improving, which is a good sign too. So there's a quick thought on Canopy Growers. All right. Any other companies, or have you guys heard enough of me talking? Just let me know. All right. While you guys are considering whether or not you have questions, let me just hop over here and look at some of the winners today, because there was some big ones. Aurora, boy, am I proud of that one. That was up. Lucid was up. We got Shiba up, still 14%. BAT token, basic attention token, that was up 14%. So a lot of altcoins were up. We had solar up, alternative energy up, Intuit was up, all double digits there. GameStop was actually up 8.8%. Wow. Micron Tech, that was up 7.8. Riot block. Oh yeah, all the blockchains were up today too. I put some trades in for blockchains today. Hut 8 Mining and Hive. I had trades in today. Hive was up 6.8% today. See, when you see Bitcoin going down and you see Bitcoin coming close to support, it's dragging all of these blockchain stocks down with it. So then when Bitcoin does its reversal and starts going back up, then these blockchain companies are going to be pulled up right along with it. I mean, Riot Blockchain was up 7.5. Argo was up 7. Hive was up 6.8. Marathon was up 6.2. Hut 8 was up 5.5. Bitfarm was up 5.2. So these were all up. Even Coinbase was up 2.7. So that's something that I usually do a trade on when Bitcoin gets down to support and it's about ready to do its reversal and come back up. It pulls all those mining companies and blockchain related companies back up with it. So that's usually a good swing trade to be in. Sweet Green, my goodness, has that thing had a wonderful IPO. Wow. It was up another 7% today, but yesterday it was up quite a bit. Roblox, it was up 6.6% today. That's great. Let's see here. Fisker got a little love today. They were up 5.9. They dropped last week hard. True Simple Holdings, they were up 5.8%. This is a competitor to Aurora Innovation. So Aurora is AUR and True Simple is TSP. They are competitors. BioNTech, they were up 5.7. Sun Nova 5.6. You got a lot of solar companies. Enphase was even up 5.2, and Enphase has just been running like crazy. It's had 20% days recently. Let's see, Canadian Solar, First Solar, both up 4.8 and 4.7. Sunrun 4.7. Toast is getting some love again. We're up 4.5. Kathy Wood bought some Toast this week, I believe it was. Thought I saw it in her email, her nightly email. Cardano was up 4.3. It's at $1.86 right now. I'd love to see that thing back above $2. Let's see here. We talked about Rivian. NVIDIA was up 4% today to 329. Yeah. Tesla we talked about. They were up 3.7. What's this note here about Tesla? From Electric. Tesla secures new 197 megawatt hour megapack order to go on its AutoBidder AI platform. Oh, that's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. This is electric reporting list. Uh, let's see, has secured a new megapack order for 197 megawatt hour of capacity to deploy in the UK and use its AutoBidder AI platform. See, when we were talking about EVs earlier at the beginning of the show, and I talked about Tesla being a multi-trillion-dollar market cap company, electric, that's one of the industries they're disrupting with their AutoBidder software or AutoBidder platform. That is huge. And that energy is a huge market. Megapack has quickly emerged as the leading battery system for large utility scale energy storage systems. It helped Tesla's energy division accelerate storage deployment, and the company has now built an impressive backlog of orders. That's great. That is really good. All right, cool. Okay. Well, that looks like everything that I wanted to mention today, except for Palo Alto Networks. I do have a deep dive that I will go over on Monday with them. They had a wonderful Palo Alto Networks. I'll just pull up their stock chart here, and then we'll wrap things up. Ticker symbol is PANW, Palo Alto Networks. They had an excellent earnings. The one thing that I would say is that they may be reaching a point where their growth is going to slow a little bit. There's a ton of competition in this space for cyber and software, and it is getting very competitive. But I'll talk about that on Monday. I don't want to bore you here by talking too much longer. So yeah, let me end with this. Sunday evenings. This is the most important video that I do all week long. Sunday evenings, the video comes out. It's called Catalyst Watch. And I list out all the different companies that I'm watching for the next week coming up, for the next 5 days. And next week is a short trading week, remember, because of Thanksgiving, okay? So we have a short trading week next week, and historically, that has meant bigger gains. Historically, the week of Thanksgiving, that's a short week for trading, is usually a week with higher gains. But I will talk about that more in my Catalyst Watch video that will come out on Sunday evening. I've been doing it as a live stream for the past several weeks. I may continue doing it with that format. It seems to work out pretty well. But it doesn't just list out the companies I'm watching that week. It lists out why I'm watching those companies and what I'm watching for. So definitely pay attention for that one. It's a great video to watch. And again, I think it's my most important video of the entire week. So make sure to check that out. Sunday evenings is when it comes out. And also, first link in the description. If you like my perspective and you think that the information you get is valuable, informative, actionable, that's the biggest one. If you think the information that I'm giving you is actionable and you can act on it, then click the first link in the description to become a Patreon member. I have a few special goodies lined up for Patreon members this quarter. I'm looking for trade setups to be released. I am also looking to give out buy-sell signals. That one's a little more complicated. I'm trying to figure out the mechanics of doing that one. But yeah, there's some additional perks coming this quarter. So by the end of this year, I'll have them all lined up. So again, if you find this information actionable, then I would greatly appreciate your support for the research that I do, for the analysis and technical breakdowns. But other than that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here with me. I greatly appreciate it. I hope everyone had a fantastic week, and I hope everyone has a fantastic weekend. And I will see you on Sunday evening for the Catalyst Watch video, and also watch for a short video coming out tomorrow. I guess that's it. We'll wrap it up there. Thank you, everyone, for being here, and I will see you in the next video.